Okay. Hello and good evening. Welcome to another weekly episode of Featurepreneur Presence Live AMA. Stay tuned with us throughout this session to shoot out your intriguing questions and to win those exciting prizes. Today, amidst us, we have Mr. Suresh Mayavan, the lead .NET developer at leading Canadian bank Toronto, Canada. He anchors 10 plus years of experience in software development on various large scale and end-tier projects in banking and financial domain on .NET, Windows, and web-based applications. He has also worked with BMO Financial Group, Tata Consultancy Services, and Telix Corporation as a lead software developer. Suresh, we are delighted that you joined us today. Welcome to Featurepreneur Presence Live AMA.
Hi, thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity for CSP on the team.
Okay, the pleasure is ours, definitely, Suresh. To start off with, Suresh, can you please introduce yourself to our interns?
Yeah, sure. My name is Suresh Mayavan, and I've been working in IT for more than 15 years now. So I started my career with TCS, and I have traveled many places, like maybe many countries, I would say. And I've been working in .NET. My core technology or my core work always in .NET, Microsoft .NET. And currently, like I'm working one of the bank in Toronto, just called TD Bank. So before TD Bank, I was working in BMO and TCS, and before TCS, I was working in Telix Corporation US. And before Telix, I was there in Colombia for some time, South America. So overall, I have like around 15 years of experience. My core technology is .NET, and recent days I've been into big data, cloud, and all the new technologies.
Okay, that was a very edifying intro, Suresh. Thanks for sharing that. So to begin with, let me begin with a very basic question on .NET. What is Microsoft .NET basically used for, and what are the important aspects of .NET?
So .NET it is started around like in year 2000, where .NET and Java they were like competitors. Like so since I started my career in Windows, .NET became easier for me to start with. So in .NET, and again like in .NET we have VB.NET, C#, like different languages, and I was a little bit familiar with VB, so I started with .NET. So .NET is a framework where you can develop any type of application, like either Windows, web, batch file, web API, or anything, whatever you want in the world, mobile development and more. So as like lots of folks use Java, and at the same time people using .NET. And recent days, there are lots of new technologies, especially used for web development and big data, for instance, Python, and a lot of new technologies. So it is good to be good in all the languages, but to be good in one core technology, like either it's a Java, .NET, or Python, would be good for the career. So to answer your question, .NET is a framework where you can develop any type of application, Windows, web, C#, like web API or anything you want.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. So as you were mentioning, you mentioned like C#, Java. So what are the several programming languages that is basically supported by .NET framework? So can you throw some light on it?
Yeah, sure. So in .NET framework, especially like when it comes to .NET, people always go for C#. So which is like most of the people will be familiar with C# and predominantly like people use C#. Apart from C#, we have VB.NET, and also we have most of the languages supported in .NET. Like and when I call C#, C# is like it is very close to Java. If you are familiar in Java, like it's very much easier to pick up C#. And other languages are like VB.NET and And any language you can you are familiar with, you can develop for our language you are familiar with, and actually .NET or CLR, which converts them to common machine language. So uh, there are two languages which is very familiar, or which is very much people use, or C# and VB.NET.
Okay, that was interesting. And the next question from me is that what is the major difference that we see in .NET Core and .NET Framework?
Okay, so .NET Core, it's as it says, it's core, it is very lightweight, and people use it for, when you go for framework, it is it has lots of other .NET related supporting libraries. But when you go for core, it is very lightweight, and also it is .NET Core is open source, so it is much easier to develop and deploy. Since we have Python and other web API on lots of new programming languages, .NET Microsoft brought in .NET Core, which is to compete with other open source systems.
Okay, all right. So let me just go a little off topic here and ask you a very personal question. So, what are your hobbies and what do you do in your leisure time?
Oh, okay. So my hobbies are usually watching Netflix, playing games with my friends,
All right.
visiting families, friends, and I do watch a lot of stuff in Netflix.
Okay. Basically, binge watching and all that. So, what do you like the most about Canada?
I like everything pretty much except the weather. I've been in Canada for the last 10 years, and so uh, the summer is really summer is a real fun where we go and meet friends, play around. Um, Winter is little harsh here, so because the weather is always falling between below like 15, 20, or it's always negative, always negative. But even people started liking, even our folks started liking winter, go around and play like ice game, for instance, snow, ice hockey, or any snow events, lots of snow events. So what I like here um, is the summer. Summer is really fantastic.
Okay,
And
it's just the opposite for us here. We don't prefer summers.
yeah,
It's pretty hot back in India. But that's interesting. You guys are getting adapted to the winters as well. Anyways, coming back, Suresh, you worked with the TCS as a lead software developer and later with a Deluxe Corporation as senior software developer. Please speak to us about the work culture and the experience you gained at these places.
yeah. So I started in TCS around 2000, 2007. Yeah, 2007. Sorry, 2005. Um, so when I started, I was kind of a junior developer, and at the time, again, I was familiar or starting with .NET. Um, so the work, so at that time, when I was so young and starting my career, I used to put a lot of effort. I used to work for 10, 12 hours every day. And I used to have very good rapport with my leads, develop other colleagues and my managers. I've been doing a lot of hard work as well as I've been learning all the languages. Um, and I had an opportunity to travel around to Colombia, that where I was working one of the finance projects for the government. Yeah, I was traveling to Colombia and stayed there for 2 years, and when I came back, and again, I was working sometimes in Chennai, and and then I had another opportunity to go to US, which is Deluxe Corporation. So Deluxe Corporation is there. They do lots of like they are collaboratively working with banks, and they do a lot of banking and financial like solutions. One of their main major business is to print checks. So at the time, maybe not these days. Uh, those times, like people primarily using like the checks. So their business is to be like check printing, and also they venture into multiple like there are lots of other financial solutions they used to provide. So they are closely working with all the banks. So I was there for some time in US Minneapolis with Deluxe Corporation. Yeah, there I was working on the financial applications, and then I went back to India and came to Canada, and I'm here for last 10 years. Here I've been like solely working on the banks, like local banks, and in IT.
Okay, so yours have been a very inspiring journey, and you have bagged a lot of experience. We also see that you did your masters in computer science from the Madras University, and later you worked as a software developer, and then we see a transition to finance. So how was the transition, and why was the transition from IT to a financial sector?
Yeah, though I won't say like I'm completely into finance now, but I'm into finance, but I still do a lot of work on the IT. Um, so when I started, like again, probably like Deluxe, when I was working in Deluxe, that was the time like I started learning, or my interest came into finance sector. Um, so that's where I started doing like gaining a lot of domain knowledge on the finance, and then uh, like slowly I started from there. And when I came to Canada, especially like the first bank I was working with called BMO, Bank of Montreal. So that's where my core work, the applications which I was working on, uh, like everything on the finance sector. So, and then my interest went on to finance more and more, and still I'm with the bank, doing a lot of financial, like I'm learning a lot of things on finance and banking and financial, but still I'm doing my work, or my core work is in IT, especially like right now I'm switching over to cloud, especially cloud Azure, Microsoft Azure. Yeah, but my domain knowledge, or my knowledge after IT is more on finance. And I closely work with a lot of folks, a lot of my business partners. They all are in core banking. They are like they're customer facing, their business users, and that's where like started gaining a lot of knowledge and interest into finance, banking and finance.
Okay, all right. As you were saying, you worked in India, you worked in Canada, you worked in Colombia. So, what was the big work culture differences that you noticed when you worked in these different places?
Right. So yeah, it's it's different. Different. It's very different when compared to different regions. Especially it comes with our culture, right? So in India, we usually start work. Maybe I'm not generalizing, but it depends, right? Like some people start work at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and they like they put a lot of effort. Like they stay until 7 or 8, and even some people go home and work. So when I was started working, like I was working like 12 to 14 hours per day in India. And when I went to Colombia, it was not like that. So especially Colombia or US or even in Canada, they are like follow mostly the Western culture. It's like people come early around 8 o'clock, and they sign off at 4 or 5 o'clock. So the work culture or work-life balance compared to India here, it's much better, I would say. Um, but at the same time, when I was in India, or even people like us, we always work a lot, and that's how we brought up, and we have been doing put a lot of effort. That's why also, that's one of the reasons also we are how we are doing great or good in technologies, or especially IT. I won't say you have to spend all your time working. At the same time, like you'll have to have work-life balance. That's very, very critical for your health and your family and everything. So that is always there in Western countries, like countries like Canada or US. That's
Okay.
that's a little bit of challenge in India, but I think it will change.
Yeah, it's true. It is a little bit of challenge in India. We have long working hours, and that's one scary thing for everybody who is working. Yeah, thanks for sharing that because we were not aware about the work life, how it's balanced in Colombia and Canada. But anyways, my next question is: if someone has to begin their career in .NET or as a .NET developer, what should they start off with, or where should they begin, and what should they learn first?
Yeah, actually, like there are lots and lots of materials we have, like lots of learning portals. For instance, like Udemy, or there are lots of places where we can start with. Even like that Microsoft Microsoft site itself, Microsoft portal itself. Yeah, good place to start with. Um, so if your knowledge is good in like C++, C Sharp, or Java, and it's good to start with C Sharp. And if you're more familiar with VB, then you can start programming in VB.NET. Um, so to start, if you're interested, or if you want to start .NET or .NET Framework, the Microsoft portal is the best place to start with. And also like YouTube or even lots of other learning portals where you can start with. There are lots of materials available on the internet. So yeah. So also there are lots of things getting changed, evolving like every day. Um, since since we start like Azure or Microsoft Cloud came into the picture, like they are dominating um, everywhere now. Like all the organizations or even small institutes, or everyone started adopting like Azure Cloud, and as well as we have Amazon Cloud. So with cloud implementation, like .NET also playing a major role. That's like because .NET is their core programming language for Microsoft, so they always prefer to use .NET everywhere wherever there are opportunities. So it's good to start .NET. .NET, like I won't say like any specific language, like either to just to stay with .NET or Python, or so start learning everything. Like not everything, like it have to be like expertise in something like either .NET or Python or Java, and start learning all the new technologies, like whatever comes into the market, and whatever new things we have to learn, like we have to um, to to survive, and also to go higher in career, for everything. Yeah, we have to keep learning.
All right, that's very true. We have to keep learning. And thank you so much for sharing that with our interns. So, Suresh, what are the current projects that you've been working on right now?
Um, Currently, like I am like as I said, like I was into BMO before, and right now I am with another bank called TD, where so here I've been doing like lots of cards applications called like we purchase like products from different service providers, and we provide them the infrastructure. For instance, we go to cloud, and on the cloud we have to install their applications. Um, so there are different various applications I'm supporting, and I'm collaboratively working with my business as well as the service providers. and I am on the spot where I create all these servers, cloud servers, and like install, deploy their applications, and provision these applications to our business to test and test the applications. And if there are any issues, I connect with our service providers or the vendors. Also, we have lots of in-house applications which we develop, and also we do some enhancement support, production support, and yeah. So there are a lot of things, like not just one application or one project. There are various applications and projects in place right now. Um, Specifically, like some applications are like, my core area is on the banking. Like right now, it is reporting services. So where like various reports being generated at our site. The reports are shared uh, between like executives, and some of the reports are going to the public. Yeah. So to be specific, there some of the reports are called like shareholders reports, Cognos reports. Yeah. Yeah. Lots of projects on existing application, supporting existing applications, and also we are working with some vendors, uh, like vendor products like analytics tools, reporting tools, and whatever in the market, whatever new in the market. We just do some kind of a POC demo, and we bring it to our business, and yeah.
Okay, very on trend and interesting projects. Thank you so much for speaking to us about that. My last question for you is, what is that next skill that you are dying to learn, that you really want to learn it? What skill would that be?
Yeah, I'm more interested. Like again, I'm started learning a lot on the cloud, and my future or my focus would be into um, AI type of implementations like machine learning or deep learning, and then AI, and do a lot of automation on the. Um, I have some of the things on my bucket list. But learning cloud, as well as like getting um, knowledge into AI and machine learning would be my future goal.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So that was pretty much from my side. Now it's time for the audience to shoot out their questions. Suresh, I just want to tell you, all our audience are pre-final year and final year engineering students who are aspiring to extend their career in machine learning, AI, and different such domains. So they will be asking you questions right now. So guys, if you guys have any questions, you guys can unmute and speak to Suresh. But please make sure you ask one question at a time so the others would get a chance as well. So stick to one question at once. And if we have time, we will still give you time to shoot out your other questions. Anybody, if you have questions, you can ask Suresh now.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Yes, Divya, you're audible. Please
Yes,
introduce yourself and ask the question.
I am Divya. I'm doing my pre-final year. Yes, I got a question for you. As you are working in a banking field, what are the things you do for security? Because banking is the dealing with the financial things are really needs more security. So, what are the things you do for security while developing an application as a developer
All
in the
right.
banking?
Thank you, Diva, for the question. Yeah. So as a developer, like for instance, like if you are in like if you are developing something in .NET, or if you are developing like development in Java or any other any languages, so your program itself has a specific framework or the libraries for handling the security. But apart from your program or whatever the program you are going to run, there are lots of security layers. We have it on the banks, or not only banks or any institutes we have. So for instance, you are going to install something on your development area, like it may not be that much secure, but when you go to production, so the production, it is not easy for anyone to go and access. So there are like lots of security layers we have, like firewall. We have we have lots of layers, like we call it like red zone or like yellow zone or like green zone. So when it goes to production, like it's impossible like to go easy to access your production environment. So there are like lots of like every bank or every institutes, they have their own security team. Not only just a security team, they have every IT team they have, like they follow certain standards. And there are lots of things like a firewall, like scans and everything running on the server. So when you are doing like a development, so you should be following like what the protocol you have, especially like what the framework, what the and also like we have to, like once you do the code, like you have to scan your code, like if there are any vulnerabilities you have find, like you have to fix them out. And like there are lots of rules or lots of guidelines or the protocols you have to have when you are doing like your code, whatever you do the code, like it won't just go to the production as easily. It will be tested. They will do a scan and they will make sure like your code is well protected before it goes to production. So when you start working on the real projects, or when you go to the bank, or when you go to any company, then you will come to know in real time. There is no like a single like a specific thing. I would say like, okay, just go and follow these specific security rules so that your program will be like secure. There is no such thing. So when you are coding, like you will be following your own framework, and when it gets deployed, it's a different, like they follow all their security rules. And also when the servers are built, they have their security rules. And the networking team, they follow the security rule to block all the firewall rules. So it's not that easy when your program is into the production. That's not easy, like someone to hack and go there. So there are various level of securities applied on the banks or any production environment. Yeah, but you'll come to know, or when you start doing your program, or when you start deploying something into the code, into the servers, you will know all those security related concepts.
Thank you, sir. That was really informative.
Thank you, Divya. Anyone else?
Hi, sir.
Yes, Gokul, you're audible.
Yeah, thank you. So, as you are working in a banking sector, and almost every process of banking is turning digitally. That means in online or even through a mobile. So, is there really the employment of computer engineers increasing in banking sectors from the past 10 years?
Yeah, that's a good question. So that's where it's global, right? So that's so when you say are you asking like whether it is growing, or are you saying like, are you asking like there is no growth?
No,
Sorry.
I'm asking, is it the job employment of computer engineers is growing in banking industry?
Yes, yes, it is. And like digitization, like it's becoming like a very common right now. So whatever the legacy things we used to do in the past, like for instance, we go to the bank, we fill a lot of forms in the past, and takes a couple of days to get approved, for instance, a loan or a bank account or whatever, right? So it used to take a lot of time in the past. But these days, like everything you do, like just you upload your document or like we sign up all the things on just on the PDFs. You do everything online. So the digitization, like it's becoming the feature, not just that, also the cloud. So the future would be like if we are not going to make use of a lot of space, we are not going to make use of all those servers what used to have. That's where like we are replacing the cloud. So, and when it comes to the banking, so uh, banking it's gonna transform, yes, a lot in future, especially like down the line in 10 years. It's gonna be like totally different. We may not have that many bank employees like physically located on the bank stations. So it's everything gonna be automated, like everything like automation. There are a lot of opportunities for the people who is working on the IT or people who is working like focusing on the automation, or like people who's learning on the cloud DevOps. Like, so if your goal or if you're learning on and if your career focus is on the banking, like then you have to have a lot of knowledge or like start learning like cloud DevOps and web APIs, like all like whatever comes into the market, like the new technologies. To answer your question, yes, like the the conventional bank, whatever we have today, it may or may not exist of like down the line, like after 10 years or 15 years. It's going to be like all digital. It's going to be like it's going to change a lot. That's the future.
Thanks a lot, sir. It was completely informative information from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gokul. Anyone else? If not,
Yes, yes,
yes,
I'm
Isha.
Ishwar. Answer, and I have a doubt that in banking sectors, the security is the main concern. In that favor, is blockchain has a big growth in the field of banking.
Um, yes, it is. So there are lots of like things are going around, especially on the blockchain, Bitcoin and Coinbase, coin related thing. Like those are like we we have to have a lot of time to speak about. But yes, in just to answer your question, yes, it is like blockchain is getting traction and not only blockchain, like the coins, like especially like the crypto or whatever the coins which we are seeing in the market, they are getting a lot of traction and lots of big institutes or people are like even the big shots are started investing into it. It is future, yes, it is. It is going to be like one of the major thing in future, but they have like as a retail folks or whatever, like like we are not having that much like capital to invest into it. But again, blockchain would be the future. It is already having a lot of impact, and it's already we started seeing the growth. Yeah, crypto, blockchain, all those things are the future. But we have to be very careful, very careful, like what we are doing on there. It just like you just can't like don't be afraid. Just go there and buy something and don't lose money on there. But on the learning curve, okay, yeah, go ahead and learn what blockchain is, and there will be a lot of growth on the blockchain area. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Isha, for the question. I think we can move on to the public questions if we are done. I believe anyone else? Anyone else? Any more questions? Okay, I believe not. Suresh, I have charted on two best questions from our social media pages. And the first question is from Priyadarsha, and she's asking you, what is the scope of .NET in the upcoming years?
Um, yeah, .NET, it's it started like at least 10, 15, 30 years ago, and it's still dominating like on the Windows development or even on the web development. So like we won't be able to guarantee like there will be something like going to dominate the future, or because it's evolving like the technology itself. Like we used to have lots of standalone servers, like we had VMs, now we have cloud, VM cloud, and then cloud. It's growing. So just like that, just like how infrastructures and those areas growing, like also we have lots of new things coming up on the programming side. So like the knowledge, the core knowledge, whatever we gain on .NET, Java, or like C# .NET or Java or any other programming languages we have, it's always good. Like it's like just like a if and else like statements and like a couple of like syntax what you're going to learn from the language, but the main thing is your programming skill. If you are a great programmer in Java, like you can pick up any language. So the core like main thing is your programming skill or your analytics or like more of your programming skill. Like any language you can learn anytime, and it's a matter of learning the syntax. It is not just about C# or it's not about just the Java. Take any language you like, any platform. Like either you wanna familiarize, like expertise yourself with Java, then go ahead and learn Java, or Python. Python is dominating a lot. Like it's huge on the big data world. And also like when you are focusing on Microsoft world, Microsoft Cloud, like any Microsoft application, it's .NET, C# .NET. So it is not like whether .NET will be there like in next 10 years or 20 years. It's not like that. So any language, go ahead and learn and be familiarize yourself, be like try to be an expert on that area. And when you are expert in C#, when you are expert in VB or even in C++ or Java, you can program in any language. It's just a matter of time to learn the syntax. So don't be like be specific on one platform. Try to be a platform independent, but try to be specialized in some areas, like either in .NET or Java or whatever you want, or Python. It doesn't matter. But in future, like we will be like, for instance, I shouldn't be saying like I'm just great in .NET. But sometimes if I get some work in Python, I have to do some work. Like I have to finish the work in Python. So yeah, just focus on programming, like programming skills, and just stay with any of the platforms. And yeah, you'll be. It's not that difficult if you are good in Amazon, AWS. You can easily learn Azure. If you can learn like Microsoft Azure, you can learn like Google Cloud. So it's all like very well connected, and it's not like when you are good in one area, and it's not difficult to learn the others. And also like you can't be saying like you won't say, oh, I know C#. You can't just stay only on the C#. You have to learn whatever comes in the market. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So like you said, .NET has its own popularity and it takes its special stand in the market. And my next question was from David, which was very similar to what you just said. It was like about is C# losing its popularity? But then you already mentioned that it's more about you expertising in one of the languages, either Python, Java, or .NET. So I think due to time constraints, I will drop that question. But anyways, for today, we have come to the end of this session. Suresh, it was really delighted to have you here today. Thank you so much for taking time and joining us today. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on .NET with our interns. It was indeed an informative session for all our interns. So once again, on behalf of Featurepreneur, I extend my sincere gratitude to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sonia, for conducting this session, and it's really awesome. And thank you very much for CSB for providing the opportunity to be here today.
The pleasure is definitely ours. Thank you. Raja sir?
Yes, but you can just maybe you can start the recording.
Okay, I move on to the next segment as it's still recording. So Suresh, I'm just bringing to your notice that we usually reward people who ask the best questions, and we also have a random winner for all the participants who come and participate in our live AMA. So first I will announce today's best questions winner. So today's best question was shooted by Gokul. Congratulations, Gokul.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I hope today was a very informative session for you.
Yeah, of course. Actually, it was nice information he provided. He said in 10 to 15 years, all the banking sectors will become completely digital. So
Yes,
the job opportunities for computer engineers would drastically increase.
yes, true.
Yeah.
Thank you for that interesting question, Gokul, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you.
Okay, so the second winner for today would be Priyadasha for shooting out her interesting question. Congratulating Priyadasha on behalf of Featurepreneur. Unfortunately, she was not able to join us today. So moving on to the random winner, I hope the wheel is ready for the random winner.
Yes.
Okay, so
Is it visible?
yes, it is visible, Gokul. So let's spin the wheel to know the random winner of this week's live AMA. Okay, so this week's winner of a random winner for live AMA is Akshara. Congratulations, Akshara, on your win. Hello, Akshara. Can you unmute and speak to us?
Thank you.
Hi, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Is this your first session?
Yes.
Okay, so you're new to Featurepreneur, is it?
Nice.
Don't be scared to talk. So how is your experience so far with Featurepreneur? Is it going good or great or fabulous? I'll give you options. You can choose. Fabulous. Okay, interesting. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Akshara, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, I believe we have come to the end of the session. It was very interesting and a very informative session for me, and I hope it was for everybody. Thank you for shooting out your interesting question and making the session very interactive and lively. Hope to see you in next week's live AMA. Until then, stay tuned with Featurepreneur and all our events. Thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations to all the winners. Thank you, guys.